Present. Hey girl, how are you? Welcome everyone to How Do Kings Say I Love You. This is episode 3, season 1, episode 3. In the house, I have a friend, an artist, an architect, a father, a community builder, the first architect. Hey, what's up? Let me let you in the building, DJ.
Yo,
Yo, what's up?
what's going on?
DJ, turn the camera the other way.
Why? You don't like me? You don't like me horizontally?
It's distracting.
I'm just messing with you.
Yo, I
How's it
haven't heard
going?
that word in a long time. Horizontally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you,
What's
how you
up?
been?
I've been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
been. I feel like a woman now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It,
I
it's
saw I saw your other interviews and like what you've been doing, and I'm so inspired. I'm so proud.
yeah.
So, just keep doing your thing, man. Keep shining. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Dee. So I had this idea, right, to do this series off the womb because I really wanted to have more conversations with community. I wanted to have more conversations with Black men around like love, you know, and fatherhood and partnership and what that looks like as we move forward, you know? And so I'm having these interviews and they're great. And I'm like, yo, but I have to have DJ on here. Like, I gotta have DJ on here. Um,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a blessing.
It is. And the reason why it was so important for me to have you on here, Deej, is because, there's enough mans who are out here saying the things and rapping the raps and talking the things, you know what I mean?
Not
But for
actually doing
me,
the work.
right, for me, knowing you, you are somebody that talks the talk and walks the walk. You know what I mean? I have so much respect for that. And so I welcome you to season 1, episode 3, How Do Kings Say I Love You? And so
Beautiful,
today is going to
beautiful.
be
Thank you for having
poetry.
me.
Thank you for pulling up.
Yes. Oh
All right.
my God.
So today we're going to talk about love.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about fatherhood. We're going to talk about music. And we're going to talk
Okay.
about legacy.
Yes.
All
Let's
right?
get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Okay. So
Hey.
your partner, your fiance, the queen, Vanessa Spence, came out with a beautiful collection of poetry as well as produced her one woman play. Yes. Okay.
I got
Stretch
about
mark.
I got about three copies. So
About 3 copies.
yes.
Yeah. All right. So I thought that it would be dope to let her poetry kind of prompt
Mhm.
our conversations.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I like that.
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right. Right.
like
Right.
that. I see where
Like
you're
that.
going with
See what
this.
I'm saying right now. Okay. Let's get on with it.
You're gonna start tugging on my heartstrings. Like that book, I remember reading it for the first time,
Yeah.
and because she was very, when she's in her creative process, like I'm not allowed to read it,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm her partner and I'm there. I couldn't really see what she was talking about.
Yeah.
So when I read the book for the first time, I was like pleasantly shocked.
Mm-hmm.
There's things I didn't know she was feeling, and some things I did know, and just the way she put things so eloquently in her book, like, it was such a good book, even as a man. I know it's for stretch marks. I know it's geared towards women, and women with children specifically, but
Yeah.
as a man, I learned a lot from her perspective, despite checking out her book. And stretch marks, it meant so much. I understood from a deeper level what that meant, like even the physical side of the image of the stretch mark, and the whole
Mm-hmm.
journey. So it was a beautiful, beautiful book, and I'm so proud of her for all that. She's done so much with her talent. So it's amazing to see.
Speaking of her now.
Yeah,
Pulled
she gonna
up.
live long. She just pulled up. Yeah.
She'll live really long. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So DJ, the first question.
Hmm.
Before I get into that, let me read some poetry. Once again, we're reading Vanessa Spence's poetry book, Stretch Marks, and this is page 2. All right, page 23. My bad. I try to fight the feeling, but with you, it's so hard not to be a cliche. Everything they said love feels like happens when I'm in your presence.
Mm.
I thought I'd be sick of you by now, but every week you change. I stay to relearn you. I don't want to, I have to. My mind and body naturally realign. As you grow, I flow. And as I flow, you grow. Your words alone send me to places I never have been. I stop and stare in awe. My ears open wide to listen. You teach me as you live, and that is all I ask. I already left a love that was stagnant, and I
Mm.
don't wish to recreate that past. My first question, DJ. How did you and Vanessa fall in love?
How did we fall in love?
Yes. Take me through that journey of.
Wow. Um, I mean, I think I've told a lot of people this, but I guess just it was I knew right away.
Yeah.
So uh, I was just in a point in my life where I wasn't really I was happy with what I was doing, but I wasn't happy with where I was going.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and truthfully, like I needed to stroke my ego, so I downloaded Tinder, and
Right.
I actually, we actually met on Tinder,
Yeah.
and I didn't like, we matched, but I didn't like send her a message for probably like a week, 2 weeks,
Saying you was playing it cool.
and
You was playing it cute.
no, like I honestly, I had no interest. Like to be honest, like I never met nobody off Tinder. I wasn't that kind of person. Like it wasn't for me. So I was like, I would match, and it's just so to make sure I was in the game.
Right.
I still had it going. So I think when I was going to Rise actually on a Monday, and I just decided to call her. And then when like it was weird because we just started talking. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even go into Rise. So we were just on the phone outside of Rise, and I couldn't get off the phone to go inside. And
Yeah.
there were some dope performances. It was just the conversation had me. We were talking about like so many deep things, and it was the first time we'd ever talked.
Mm-hmm.
And we just went like right into like a very deep conversation with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have like my phone's always ringing. And then and then from there, I kind of knew from the first conversation that this was different. I had never felt this way. I never really clicked with somebody that quickly,
Yeah.
and exposed so much of myself in such a short period of time. And it was kind of refreshing in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't feel like I couldn't trust her. I didn't feel like she was that kind of person, and we had just I hadn't even seen her face. Like this is just a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
um and we've been talking ever since.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever since that day stopped talking. So to me it was kind of instant, you know falling in love. So uh it was beautiful. That's the best way I could describe it. But it was surreal for sure because people didn't believe me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I think she's the one. And people are like, what? Like I was like, I don't know. I just kind of accepted it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not a normal feeling. Uh,
Mm.
and this doesn't happen every day,
Oh my.
so I kind of just took the sign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page 19. You ask me why I'm so short with you. My head starts to fill with all the things I can't say. Oh, we going there, DJ. You ask me why I'm so short with you. My head starts to fill with all the things I can't say. I blame you for planting your seed in my garden, not taking into account my stormy season, for burdening me with the choice of whether another life should continue or cease, for tearing me out of my comfort zone, one day at a time, for making me believe that only in your arms I am safe, for causing this silence between myself and my gardener, for moving my goals and dreams just out of my reach, for my ever growing breasts and itchy nipples, for the pains in my lower back. It's working overtime to carry the weight of our future. I blame you.
Mm.
Walk me through the journey of finding out that your partner was pregnant.
Wow. Um, so I would say it happened very suddenly. Um, when I guess you would say when I first found out and how I felt.
Mm.
A lot of the time you hear, guys, they find out and they're like scared and they're kind of like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And they start to panic. And I was at my friend's house, and I was telling him like, we're gonna wait to have children so that we can plan and be intentional with that child's life and make sure certain things are in place before we bring a child into the world. And she called me the next day. And I was happy. I just started smiling. I was super happy, but I was also, I wouldn't say scared, but I would say I took it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think lightly of the situation, and I understood, you know, it meant there was going to be a serious level of commitment now, my part and support, um, because we were going to go to a place that we have never been,
Mm.
um, and we were so young, and so young in our relationship that it was, even though you're happy, you understand the challenges that are going to come with it,
Mm.
so it was a mix, it was a mixed bag of emotions. Obviously, you're like, oh my God, like, we're gonna have a baby, and
Yeah.
like that's so beautiful, and
Yeah.
it's amazing that we could even, do something like this. And I was excited about that, but I was also like, okay, but there's also this, we have we're two ambitious people. We were traveling, we were doing so many things, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, now we have to put somebody else first, you know, even before like our relationship. Like, so all these things were like, I don't think anybody like where we were in our relationship would be like happy, you know what I mean? Letting go or
Right.
going into that kind of
Yeah.
transition, So it was a mixed bag of emotions for sure. And I think, one way I think as a man,
Mm-hmm.
I supported her was I let her know I was happy with whatever decision she made.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel a certain way, like, obviously this is what I want, but
Mm-hmm.
I support whatever decision you make,
Mm-hmm.
and I support you 100%. And you know, I'm gonna be here for you. So
Mhm.
I just more so switched gears to say like, okay, I got to make sure I support her because you know, women are the ones going through it. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
we as men, we get to observe, right? We get to see from the outside, but you know, the woman's the one carrying the child,
Yeah.
and it's really a testament to their strength and their resilience and their beauty, inner beauty and outer beauty, you know, and just their overall aura, like, you know,
Mm.
everything that is woman, and this journey that she was about to go through. And I just knew I had to be there for her, you know? So
Mhm.
that was my number one focus.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I went too deep, but
No, there's no
you
such
know, that's,
thing.
yeah, that was a tough question.
Yeah.
You know, I was pulling on my heartstrings a bit.
Yeah. Well, here's heart number string number 3.
Okay.
I can't help but feel I've made a huge mistake. I try to fight the thought, but the feeling I just can't shake. I read all of the articles, listen to all of the stories. Why did they all end the same? A broken relationship, two people, and a child in between, with no choice in the matter. A child conceived out of a falsified love, in many cases lasting a lifetime. But behind closed doors, all that was left were just two set of eyes. The image just makes me want to cry. I did not want to leave. It was something I had to do. Tell my little girl I'm sorry. I promise I did this all for you. One day you will understand. You will reach for my hand and say, thank you, mommy. At what point in the relationship, DJ, did you choose love over fear?
At what point, sorry, at what point did what? Did I
At
love?
what point in the relationship did you choose love over fear?
Ooh, love over fear.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think a lot of the time we find comfort in our fears, uh,
Mm.
without knowing it. A lot of the time, I find that even as men, even to this day, it's like I'm still getting over fears. I'm still getting over insecurities. I'm still getting over, you know, things that
Yeah.
it's an ongoing process. You know, like I couldn't say I chose it and then like that's it. Like you know what I mean. Going forward, it's a daily thing.
Mm.
You know, and daily, you know, not every day do I choose love. You know, there's days where I choose fear,
Mm.
and you know, you can see the effects it has on your relationship.
Mm.
Um, and then there's days you choose love. You know, I think that
Yeah.
when you're in a relationship, it's important to know what that person loves.
Mm.
You know, because a lot of the time, you know, you might have a way that you want to love somebody,
Mm.
right? Like you might
And
be
that's not how
looking
you
at
want to
it
be
and,
loved.
huh?
And that's not how they want to be loved.
And that's not how they want to
Yeah.
be loved, right?
Yeah.
Or you might be loving them in a way where it's how they want to be loved, but your energy or your vibe, the way you're bringing it to them, is not the way that you should bring it to them. You know, you do somebody a favor, but if you rub it in their face, it's not really. They don't take it as a favor. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So the delivery and how how you show the love, how you speak your love, how you it's not just the love language is what I'm learning. You know, you
Mm.
can know somebody's love language and speak to that love language, but you still have to work on your delivery. You still have to work on how that person is going to receive that gift, how that person's going to receive that language. How do they want to receive it? How are you used to giving it, and working through all of those. It's like different personalities too, right? Because
Mhm.
you have all these different people in one beautiful woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, she has all these different personalities and
Yeah.
all these different people uh,
Yes.
living inside of her,
Yeah.
and you know,
Creations and stories and masterpieces and ancestors, like all of it. Black Girl Magic. Come on.
yeah, like from the beginning of time, like she's connected to that timeline,
Yeah.
of being the first. So she has all these different experiences and all these different things living within inside her, um, and a lot of the time, I think it becomes a lot to manage as a man to see it, right? So we tend to kind of we stick to our fears, right? That's why I was saying you feel comfortable in your fear because you're so afraid of all these different things that she has because you don't know, right? And it's the fear of the unknown. But you really just have to explore. You have to probe, you have to ask questions, you have to dig deep, you have to really care, you have to really want to listen and really want to be with her. I think, choosing love is the will to want to be with that person, and it means the work, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups, the downs, the ebbs, the flows, and that's what the choice is, right? You got to wake up every morning and say, I'm choosing you,
Mm.
and I'm choosing to love you.
Mm.
Um, and it's tough, there's times where it's hard, she's hard to love.
Mm.
And there's times where,
You are hard
I'm
to
sure
love.
I'm hard to love,
Yeah.
you know, and we have to still find ways to love each
Mm.
other, you know. Um, so
Yeah.
and that work is it's not something that just you do and then it's done and set in stone. It's like you got to be consistent, you got to be constant with it. So that's the I guess my answer, but long and short, it's not like a one-time thing, it's like
Yeah.
a consistent work that you got to put in.
Yeah. So once again, we're reading off of Vanessa Spence's new book, Stretch Marks. So now we
Yeah.
are at page 21. For the first time in 1 year and 3 months, you gave me a glimpse of what I thought was a negative trait that only lived in my father. As you lay beside me and condemn me for my efforts, I feel like a child who has forgotten the directions, afraid to admit that I am lost. I walk alone with only your piercing gaze as the street lamps that light my path. Every now and again, I hear a car pass, startling me like the sound of your kissed teat. Whenever I come to a bush, I freeze in preparation for your tongue lashing, afraid to move forward, scared to look back. Vanessa goes, woo, woo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like I said, the book, you know, that book,
Yeah.
it speaks, it's just man, like I'm at a loss for words, you know.
Yeah. DJ, where did you learn intimacy and
Where
softness? Where did you learn intimacy?
where
Here?
where? I guess from the internet? No, I'm joking. Um,
Vanessa
you
says,
know,
I remember the night I wrote that. Yo, Vanessa, in the comments, walk me through what the feelings were the night you wrote this poem. Somebody else said there ain't no snapping emoji, but I'm over here snapping. Just drop fire in the listen. Just drop fire in the comments if you are feeling this poetry from Vanessa Spence's book, Stretch Marks. So yeah, DJ, where did you learn about intimacy and softness, and who taught you how to love a Black woman?
Um, I was like, I was raised by an army of powerful Black women,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from my mother to my aunts, to my cousins. Um, I had nothing but, powerful, strong, independent, outspoken, intelligent, Black women around me. To the point where all my role models were Black women, especially um, at a young age.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I probably hit my teens where I started to have more Black male, um, influences,
Yeah.
like that I looked up to. So, I mean, intimacy for me, um, growing up without a father, some of it is self-taught,
Mm.
just by listening and learning. Some of it is a bit of trial and error.
Mm.
I've made some mistakes in in a past life, and I learned from a lot of those mistakes.
Mm.
um I learned that, you know intimacy, a lot of men think intimacy is sex,
Mm.
you know and one of the excerpts you wrote, sorry, you read about what Vanessa wrote, and she said, like, your words take me to another place.
Yeah.
There's times where, like, I'll just speak, you know and she'll listen, and and that's what gets us intimate.
Mm.
That's our intimate moment. And it's not necessarily like, you know the the sex and the lust and all the things that people usually associate with intimacy. you
Yeah.
know they really have to look into that person, um and connect with them to their spirit. Intimacy, you
Mm.
want to think of it in the sense of, you can't physically be you can physically be intimate,
Yeah.
right? You can emotionally be intimate. If you have somebody cry on your shoulder, that's a sense of intimacy. You're
Mm.
holding somebody as they cry and they
Yeah.
sob.
Yo, that
That's
hit
a
different.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a sense of intimacy. Um, you can be at church, or in your different praises and worships,
Mm.
and be it, and you feel that spirit, and you feel that intimacy.
Mm.
So intimacy is not just one thing. So
Mm.
I think where I learned that from experience, more so, like, just going through the motions. um and I'm fortunate because I don't like to, like, you hear people, and one thing I don't like is people talk down about their exes all the time,
Mm.
but they grew because of that person.
Mm.
Good, bad, or indifferent, you were with that person.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm fortunate to say, like, from my past experiences, I was lucky to have people who I could grow. At least I was growing, and I was growing into a man. I was growing into somebody who could, you know, be ready for another relationship and going through into another relationship. And
Mm.
it's not necessarily like I gotta, like, be mad, or I have, like, this baggage, or this and that happened, but just look at it as an opportunity. Okay, well, I learned what I did wrong, and what I could have done better,
Yeah.
and I just kept building off of that. Um, and Vanessa has, like, changed my life in that way.
Mm.
Um, you know, Vanessa very early established respect first.
Mm.
So for me and her, intimacy has always been deeper. Like, just because, like, for me personally, like, just because you're naked doesn't mean I'm gonna get turned on. Like, I'm very much a mental person.
Yeah.
right? I gotta feel that energy from you. Even if you're not like all the way there, I'm turned off, you know? So intimacy for me was a very mental thing. And Vanessa, because of how our relationship uh has grown, she's really helped teach me a lot of that intimacy. Because, you know, I never really had a serious relationship before her, right? Like, so she's really helped groom me and help me understand certain things and certain ways, like that to be intimate,
Mm.
right? And she's good at communicating what she wants and what she feels, you know,
She deserves to have.
is the right thing for her, you know?
Right.
So because she can communicate that, it makes it easier for me to kind of figure out, okay, here's how she wants to be loved, here's how she wants to be intimate. Um, you know, and I'm still learning, you know,
Mm.
like it's not something again that like I'm gonna sit up here and be like, yeah, I've mastered the art of intimacy. And
Yeah.
a part of being a man and you know, how you say I love you is admitting when you're wrong or admitting when, you know, you could do better. Like, you know, not letting your ego or your pride get in the way and say, like, I'm the best, you know, and
Yeah.
all you dudes can learn a little something from the king, you know. It's more so to say like, okay, I'm human, you know, I'm learning, I've made mistakes,
Yeah.
you know, and here's how I'm gonna grow from it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Whew.
I'm getting deep on them. I don't know if I'm giving too many gems out.
Listen, we love the gems, okay, DJ? We
Yeah,
love
no,
the gems.
you gotta share the knowledge, man. That's
Yeah.
how we get better as a people.
That's how we get better as a people.
Mm.
All right. Yo, Vanessa, I know that I'm just fucking it up tonight with these segues and things. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. The image of you cuddled up in my womb is mesmerizing. The journey you took must have been grueling, but you've made yourself at home. It seems you have no plans on leaving until you're good and ready. You look so comfortable in my womb. The curve of your spine, the placement of your head, your teeny arms and legs, all working together in a space that was created just for you, ready to expand, to show the world that you have arrived. Your heart in beat with mine, beats that create the sounds of African drums. My insides move and shift like a seasoned African dancer. It tells the story of your coming and will soon tell the story of your going. DJ, walk me through the arrival of your baby girl, Nova.
Um, yeah, that was like easily um the most life-changing thing I've ever experienced.
Mm,
You know, yeah, I guess I'll start with, you know, waking up that morning. It's 4 a.m.
yes,
You know, she starts to have these contractions,
yeah.
and I'm right away like, all right, you know, like, because I was already on standby, so I'm at work. I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming in. It's happening. Peace.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's out the way. And I just was like, I get out the timer to trying to time and, you know,
Yeah.
figure out when, you know, when this baby's gonna start coming. Um, you know, we had gone the midwife route. We had like an amazing midwife,
Yeah.
but she had delivered the night before.
The midwife
So
or
yeah,
Vanessa?
our midwife
Okay.
who was supposed to be at our delivery had delivered a baby the night before,
Mm-hmm.
so she wasn't actually available that day,
Mm-hmm.
and had to send another midwife
Mm-hmm.
and another support.
Mm-hmm.
So the days going on, and I'm like, like, and Vanessa is probably, I think this is, I gained so much respect for her through this process because like she's just breathing,
Mm-hmm.
like she's just and like breathing through it. Um,
Yeah.
and she's gone into her,
Yeah.
her tranquil place, and she knows what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
And we get to the hospital, um, and it's tough because things weren't going as like as we were planning.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there for about 20 24 hours, 25 hours at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and Vanessa's still awake.
Mm.
Vanessa is still
Yeah.
going, uh and the midwives were just like, oh my God, like her strength, her her resilience. And I just remember being in the room feeling like, wow, what a powerful woman, like what an amazing individual.
Mm.
Um, and it it was just beautiful, like that moment to be able to share it with her in
Yeah.
that way, to know that we were going to be bringing this baby into the world soon. Um, and you know, without getting into too much detail, we ended up going, a C-section route. And I remember looking at her, and she looked at me, and she was kind of like, I didn't do it,
Mm.
because she really wanted to deliver, um, natural, the natural way. And it broke my heart, you know, and all I could tell her is, no, like, how could, like, you did it. Like, what do you mean? Like, you've come so far, you've done so much. You're so beautiful, like, how could but it's like, I would, and then that's why as men we have to listen, because it's like, as how could you fathom that? Like, you're looking at it, but as a woman, like, you guys want to give the world, you want to give your children so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, in that moment, she felt like she didn't do,
No.
what she was
Yeah.
supposed to do. And it's like, it's just like, it was so heartbreaking. And then, we're in the room, and the nurse has Nova in her hands.
Yeah.
And she right away, because our midwife had come at this point.
Yeah.
So our midwife kind of took control. Our midwife right away, because she knew I wanted to deliver the child, and I wanted to
Yeah.
be the first person
Yeah.
the child touched and all
Yeah.
that. So she right away took the baby from the doctor, gave the baby to us. Um, and they said, it's a girl.
Yeah.
And they laid Nova right beside us, right beside Vanessa's head, so she could see her eyes, and Nova's eyes were wide open. And
Yeah.
Vanessa's face, like the smile that was on her face, because we didn't know what the sex was gonna be.
Oh,
This
you
is the
you
first
did
time we're
fine.
finding out. Yeah, the first time.
Oh.
And you know, we don't know. And I see
Yeah.
this full head of hair.
Yes.
So right away I'm like, oh, it's a like right away I'm like, oh, it's a boy. And the nurse goes, it's a girl. And Vanessa's face just lit up, like,
Oh.
she was just so happy, and she was so tired. We're at 36 hours. Nova was delivered at
Yes.
4:15,
Oh.
July 26th. And Vanessa had been in labor for 36 hours at that point.
Yeah.
And even as tired, as she was so happy to see that little girl.
Mm.
Um, And I'll never forget that moment, in that hospital,
Mm.
um, meeting Nova for the first time. And it was a tough week because
Yeah.
um, during that process, because of how long she was laboring, she fevered. And when you fever, the baby has to stay in the hospital for a week because they're afraid that the baby might get sick.
Mm-hmm.
So 412, this is
This is a
correcting me. It wasn't
412,
450, it
and
was
it's
412.
fine.
I'm getting fact checked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, my mistake is 412. And but yeah, Vanessa had actually caught a fever, which is why she had to go into emergency C-section. And I had watched her heart rate dropping in that room. And, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had to, been in that kind of situation, but like it was tough,
Yeah.
and I remember just I knew it was going to be okay, but it was hard to watch.
Mm.
It was really hard to watch. And when Nova came out of Vanessa, she was about 38 degrees. So just
Mm-hmm.
imagine how hot Nova is as a newborn baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to be in NICU for a week, so we had to stay in the hospital for a week. They're both on antibiotics for a week. So
Mm-hmm.
my experience with Nova for that first week was like I was the one, like I probably had to do more than like a typical dad would have had to have done in a normal situation
Mm-hmm.
because I was running from NICU
To Vanessa.
to Vanessa in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the baby couldn't come
Mm-hmm.
out of NICU for the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there holding Nova and like I was just like marveled, like, oh my baby girl, like, oh my God, like just,
Yeah.
whispering and just telling her words of just giving
Yeah.
her positive affirmations and just letting her know how much I loved her.
Yes.
And, I really wish that we were home, but we were in the hospital for that week. So it was tough, like, but it was an amazing bond. I got to learn so much about my family, both Vanessa and Nova, meeting her for the first time, and
Mm.
Vanessa being a mom and watching her adapt to being a mom so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just the whole miracle, like the process of seeing a baby uh just light up your world, and
Yeah.
Nova has always been like a superstar, even
Yeah.
from when she was first born. Like,
Yeah.
she had these bright, beautiful eyes,
Yes, she does.
and it was just, it was euphoric.
Yeah.
Are you tearing? Oh my God, do you tear up?
Yeah. First of all, I was crying.
No, I listen, I feel you. And as a dude, I'll tell you, when I left the hospital, because it was, I would say day 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was like, Vanessa, I gotta leave this place. Like, I gotta go home. Like, let me get some supplies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be right back. Like, but I
Exactly.
gotta get out of this hospital. And it was the first time I kind of been away from everything. Like, obviously, we were there for 36 hours, and I never left the hospital since
Mm-hmm.
we started labor till day 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when I left and I was driving home, I started bawling.
Mm. What were you
I
crying?
was, pardon?
Why were you crying? Like,
I
was just
was
the
I was
energy
just
of it
so
all?
happy. I
Yeah.
was just so happy. I was like, man, she's okay. The baby's healthy. Like all I really cared about was my daughter being healthy,
Mm-hmm.
especially knowing, Vanessa fevered and how she came out and we're in the NICU and all that. Like I
Yeah.
was just like, man, everybody's okay. And
Yeah.
I was just happy that everybody was okay. I didn't really care about um, you know, all the different nuances that maybe other people care about. I was just happy they were healthy and I had my family and they were safe. And I didn't think I had all these emotions, but I was just kind of like, when you're in it, you're soldiering through. And
Yeah.
when I had a moment to kind of actually look back, the tears just started rolling,
Yeah.
and I understand like it was definitely like an emotional time. Um, you know, but yeah, I just remember. leaving that hospital and crying and just like a little baby,
Mm,
you know, I
mm,
didn't have any shame in saying that. Like it was beautiful.
yeah. Okay. So you ask why I don't write you love letters anymore. I tell you it's because I am too busy writing them to our child. Truth is, your love letter will arrive on July 26, 2016. From the day we found out, I penned the first line, the sound of their heartbeat, in synopsis with mine, created the rhythm and flow. Every meal I greedily scarfed down creates the meat of the poetry that grows inside me. To say I love you every day, DJ, is not enough. When presented with the opportunity to show you, I accepted this challenge. Excuse me, 2018. Sorry, Vanessa.
Yeah, you're gonna get fact checked.
Excuse me. It was a cold day in November. I sat on the toilet with two pink lines staring back at me. It was on that day I knew what I had to do. So I started writing the ultimate love letter to you. DJ, what do you want your legacy to be?
Wow. Ooh, I guess which one to choose?
Yeah.
Uh, oh, like I learned very young because I lost my father young that being there sometimes is more than enough.
Mm,
And I think my legacy, especially as an architect, is just to not just create space and, create things in space, but to give life and give things its space to exist.
yeah.
And I think a lot of what I want my legacy to be is just that I was able to give everybody around me the opportunities to be their best selves around me and really hold a space where they can feel comfortable um, to grow. I don't feel like this world is like mine to change and manufacture. It was here before me. It's going to be here long after me. And I feel like the biggest thing I can do to leave a piece of legacy or to leave something to be remembered by is just in my actions and in the people who are going to speak about me when I'm gone. And I just want to show those people and give as much love as I can to them and give it my all so that they have everything that I had and more, you know. Um, I just have a big heart. I just want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
So my biggest legacy piece would be to build my own city, um,
Yes.
and
A
watch, you
Wakanda.
know, and just watch as the next generation of people just run it and take like, and just take control of something that I helped build.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to control. I want it there so that everybody can use and everybody can, you know, can benefit from it.
Yeah.
Um, so I just it's a weird question because there's so many things I want to do,
Yeah.
and I feel like so long as I set my example, right, that my legacy will kind of speak for itself so long as I do the work.
Yeah.
So right now it's hard to answer that question because I'm so focused on doing the work
Yeah.
it takes right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to be present, especially going into this new year. Just be present in what I need to do to execute and get things done, because that's really what's going to help build my legacy. You know,
Yeah.
that's what's going to help me actually get there, is doing the work every day. So,
My nigga.
yo, honestly, thank you so much. I love this conversation. It's so edifying. It's so refreshing to talk about something that's meaningful, and it's important.
Yeah.
Um, especially as a man, like we we don't get we don't get to hold a lot of space. So I really appreciate you using your platform and you using your time to hold space,
Mm.
so you can get the male perspective um on different issues and different things, and allow us to be ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing, and I want to thank you so much for it, because it allows us to be our authentic selves as well.
Yeah. And that's so important, yo. So it's interesting because when I first got Vanessa's book at the expo, and I went home and I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's really nice, right? But I've been telling you how, like, over the course of like this year, DJ, of like you losing my job and like just all of these different nuances of like, yo, thinking that people rock with me and they didn't, and like really uncoming to become, you know? And all of these illusions that I had about like love and loving black men. And so today, as I was doing my homework in preparation for our conversation, I dusted off the book and I read it, DJ, and I'm in my closet and I'm crying because I understood. And I sent Vanessa a voice note. I'm like, Vanessa, I get it now, you know?
Right.
Of like, and there's this one part where she was like, you planted your seed in my garden, like now, and now this decision's mine, you know? And just the amount of like pressure and sacrifice that it takes to be woman, and the amount of love and joy, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I get it now. The journey of being a girl to a woman to a maiden.
Yeah,
And
and your
I
journey
want
is
to say,
beautiful. So it's amazing to watch, because I've gotten to see a lot of that growth, from an outside view, you know. So it's beautiful, and I'm glad it moved you in that way, because, you know, Vanessa really, like, I don't think a lot of people know she gave herself to that book,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she knew what it meant to other people. She knew what it would mean to the women who are seeing this book,
yeah,
because a lot of the time, and one thing she wanted to, echo in this book is that as you're going through your journey, you know, remember not to lose yourself,
mm,
right?
yeah,
As I'm going through this motherhood journey, and she documented it very well
yeah,
in that way, because as she was writing a lot of these poems while she was pregnant,
yeah,
right? She wrote some after post. So, and then it's like, so you're getting all of the different things that she's going through,
yeah,
and my, as a black man, it's important for me to uplift her
mm,
and to hold her, like, I guess you get a lot of mixed views from people who will say, like, you know, you're subservient because you're uplifting your woman, or
mm,
because you keep your woman on this pedestal, right?
yeah,
But for me, it's like, it's just the truth, and you have to honor what's great,
mm,
and you have to honor them in their greatness. Like, you
right,
can't, there's no sense in denying it, right? And I came from a black woman, so how could I deny her of her greatness? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it would be insane that I even would have that thought process. So
mm,
for me, it's always been important to uplift her
mm,
and to support her, and to support not just her, And I think this is where we can improve as Black men.
Mm.
We think that supporting Black women means supporting our girl, supporting our wives, supporting our fiance. It's bigger. It's
Mm.
supporting your daughter. It's supporting your female friends. It's supporting your mother. It's supporting your sister. Supporting your sisters, you know, supporting your cousins. It's supporting your nieces. It's supporting the little Black girl down the street who is just watching you be a man and be who you are. She's learning from your example.
Mm.
You know, like I was at the grocery store and I bought Vanessa some flowers,
Mm.
and
What kind of
there's a
flowers? What kind
young,
of flowers was they?
pardon?
What are Vanessa's favorite flowers?
Favorite flowers. Vanessa, I think she loves the red rose the most because she can take the petal.
The red
She
rose.
likes to collect the flower petals even after the flower goes, and she has like a book of flower petals.
Oh
So
gosh.
she'll collect some flower petals. I think her
That's some
books are
shit I
full
would
now,
do.
so I don't know. Yeah, she probably is gonna need a new book, but the yeah, the red rose I would say is her favorite flower. She's gonna correct me if I'm wrong, so
Mm.
we'll see. But it's more so, yeah, but back to what I was saying, like you gotta love the whole the beginning and the end, you know, you gotta love the whole series.
Mm.
You can't just tune into one one channel of woman. You gotta understand it in different levels. And
Yeah.
that's where like, Nova's taught me so much about loving
Yeah.
uh, a woman. She's
Yeah.
just a little girl,
Yeah.
but she's teaching me too. So it's beautiful to see. And even from my mother, making sure that I show her the love and the respect, that she deserves, because it's just going to trickle down. If I'm not doing it with my mother, I'm not going to do it with, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
developing those habits and making sure that I'm not just supporting one and neglecting the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to close off our
I took
conversation.
I took that picture.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? Is that when she first was born?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her holding Nova in the hospital.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, sunflower. I know that too.
Sunflowers. Come on now.
Sunflower is her favorite flower. She
So,
has we have a big painting of a sunflower too.
yeah. All
See, I
right.
make mistakes.
You can be wrong on your
I was
side.
wrong. I was wrong.
Okay. So this is the foreword of Vanessa's book written by her mother.
Mm,
It started off with the mother's intuition and a simple question: are you pregnant? Those three words changed my life and Vanessa's forever. I became a witness to my daughter's transformation from a child to a woman to a mother. How could this be? Were the questions that were asked and confidently answered by Vanessa's innate sense of maturity. At times, it seems as if she didn't need any of my assistance in navigating the ups and downs of pregnancy. However, through reading her words, I now have my answers to some, not all, of those unasked questions. In the span of 9 months, our relationship as mother and child were affected by her decision to bring forth life. Where do I step in or out? And how much do I reveal about my own personal experiences? How do I embrace this changing reality? I could only hope that the bonds that were formed as a mother to a child were enough to endure this ever-evolving relationship. Stretch marks. focuses on the author's transformation by providing readers with the retrospective into motherhood. As witness, the author takes you through early beginnings of uncertainty and excitement through poetic verses that capture the emotions by women from conception to labor and beyond. And so I think tonight was so beautiful, DJ, in
It
allowing
was.
Vanessa's art to prompt our conversations, to lead our conversations. And I'm such a mush. I was like crying the entire time because, you know, I met you at my homegirl's wedding and I thought you were such a dope guy. Like I really liked you as a human being, you know? And then
Right.
I think I met Vanessa and she was like a facilitator at the YBW and
Right.
she
The
did this
Black Women's
masturbation.
Project, Young Black Women's
Yeah.
Project.
She did this masturbation as self-love with all her dildos. And I'm like, who is this woman? You know?
She that's Vanessa, man.
And to
She's
see
amazing.
to find a home in each other and the fact that y'all invite me to the house and I witness the magic and I see baby girl Nova. And so DJ, like, I love you guys. I love you.
Uh
Thank you for loving me
we
back.
yeah, we love you. We love you too. And you know, it's a family it's a family oriented thing, you know, like it's funny because Vanessa's upstairs dying and I'm just getting distracted by her laughing at me. But
She's upstairs right now.
the amount of like, you know, people that will say they're influenced or they see us or they see our love and it's like, you know, it's beautiful and it's like we're so happy that we get to be a part of that, you know. But we also want people to know there's like a lot of work that goes on in the background. And it's not you know, it's not easy. Um, and it's worth fighting for. You know, it's worth um it's worth why she gotta put some random comments like that.
The dildo was
But
feminist. Yeah.
at at the at the core of it, like, you know, I'm glad that I found a partner, a life partner that, you know, is so like exemplifies excellence in so many different ways. And, you know, can not just uplift and inspire me, but also hold me accountable, you know, for my actions. Um, and as a man, I feel like having that partnership, having that forum, having that ability, like the reason you feel those good vibes is because we're able to navigate those tough times, you know, and we actually take pride in like slapping these battles, like, you
Yeah.
know, like all these different relationship nuances that come up. You know, we take pride in kind of defeating all these challenges and getting over all these obstacles. And that's what you're feeling. Like that's what you're seeing. We're, you know, we're real. We're not here to try and one up each other. We're not here to try and uh, you know, best each other. We're not competing. Like we really love each other. We really want to see each other win. Um, and sometimes we want to see each other win more than you know
The
than
other.
we want, you
Yeah.
know. Sometimes I have to speak life into her too, right? Sometimes she's not feeling like she's her best self and I got to remind her, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes I'm not feeling like I'm my best self and she'll remind me. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's beautiful to be able to be here and speak about my relationship, you know. um and she's obviously the other whole
Yeah.
of this picture, you know, not the other half, like her,
Yeah.
she's a whole person, you know, we're two whole people. Um, and it's just beautiful that we can go through this dance together, um, you know, with the ebbs and flows. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me on here. Um, you know, every like definitely go read Stretch Marks, like read it again, because I've read it about twice and I don't think I've gotten everything from it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's something that you got to live with. It's a great book. And thank you so much, Shy. Oh my God, from that place of, you know, because I remember that time where you know you lost your job and you were worried and you were kind of still thinking about that path. Um, and now to see you so comfortable
Yeah.
and confident because you know you're like, no, this is where I want to be, and you have that smile and you have that energy. Um, and the feelings are reciprocal, you know, from when we met you, from when I met you, you like it was always good energy and good vibes. And you know, continue to shine and continue to do your thing and continue to be a positive force. There's so many people who need this, and so many people. I was listening to the interviews
Yeah.
with Vic and Kirk Diamond, and I was learning so
Dope.
much.
Weren't they so dope?
I
Yo.
was learning so much, and I was like, I was kind of like nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna top. Like, you know, those are two very inspirational brothers, and
And
I
so are
learned so
you.
much from their dialogue and
Yeah.
from what they were talking about. Vic, my big bro, you know, I learned
Yeah.
so much from him. We talk all the time.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see you connect, and I like we have regular conversations, you
Yeah.
know, and he's I've learned a lot from him as well,
Yeah.
you know. In his counsel.
Yeah.
So, that's what you're creating. This is all a part of your creation, a part of that vision that
Mm,
you know you didn't have to act on, but you did,
mm,
and you went with your gut and you went with how it made you feel. So,
mm,
thank you so much for following your intuition and following your dream and following your spirit and what was calling out to you.
mm.
And thank you for supporting me and my family. Like always, it's always love.
Always.
And thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for because this is going to be a show. I just want to put it out there in the sit down. Yeah, sit downs with Shy. You
Sit
know,
down beside.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there. Like this is
Yeah.
going to be big. So I'm proud and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy for you.
Well,
And shout out to Vanessa and Nova.
shout out to
Shout out to
Vanessa
my
Nova.
babies. You know
Check
the
out the comments on how you can purchase Stretch Mark, Vanessa Spence's latest book. Thank you for tuning in to
shameless plug.
Very Shameless
Go
Plug.
and get the book.
Go get the book. Okay, www.vanessaspence.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into How Do Kings Say I Love You, Season 1, Episode 3, with the first architect. DJ, I love you like Black people. Peace.
Love you too, sis. All right. It's love.